quick news that's happened in the league since the last time we've been here. I want to talk about the Clippers and Kings game. One of the best games we've ever seen in NBA history, right? Second highest scorers game of all time. Regular season ended, I want to say it was 153. It was the highest regular season of all time. One of the few times that you had two guys score 40 on the same team. Shout out to, where is it at? Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox both had 40 something. I feel like I say this all the time and I beat the dead horse when I talk about the Kings. But one of the things y'all know at this point that I love about the Kings is the addition of Malik Monk and how great of a bucket getter he is in clutch moments for them. And we saw that in that game. 45 from him is absolutely insane. De'Aaron Fox had a really, really good game. Sabonis got, and it's interesting to see. I didn't realize Sabonis gets in foul trouble as often as he did. He fouled out during regulation of this game and ended up in foul trouble down the stretch too. Couldn't even play a lot of the ending of the game, especially in the second half, was dealing with foul trouble. But I even didn't realize that he has the most foul outs in the season with 7. Not that big of a, like, it's something to note, but it doesn't feel like that big of a deal when I watch them on a regular basis. It just surprises me because we talk about, especially myself, I know I talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. fouling out of the games all the time. And it turns out Sabonis is the one leading the league in foul outs this season. But just overall, a really, really great game. Talk about the Clippers side of things real quick. Kawhi. So he ended the game 16 for 22, but during the regulation, I think there was one point where he had 30 something still in the fourth quarter, and he only had missed 2 shots. Like, he could do whatever he wanted on the court. Just putting on a display for sure. It's nice to see. And I don't want to get myself caught up in it because we're going to talk about the Clippers a little bit more later and how I'm still apprehensive about them in terms of what their ultimate playoff goals could look like in terms of a championship. But when Kawhi is rolling, you really do see it that he's one of the best players in the league. Like, the way he plays the game, the way he can get to his spots on the court, make tough shots. One of the best tough shot makers in the league. And I don't know if it gets talked about enough. PG had a really, really good game, but the biggest surprise to me was Norman Powell and Nicholas Batum. They just hit a lot of timely threes. Batum hit so many threes in that fourth quarter to get the Clippers a nice little lead in the game. Norman Powell was big in overtime. Like, they just hit big shots down the stretch. But the Clippers, honestly, I don't want to use the word folded, but folded a little bit. They had a lot of times that in the game, they were up by like 10 in the fourth. Then we're up by like 6 or 7 in the first overtime. They were up in the second overtime. Like, they had opportunities to close out the game. And my wife, when we turned on the game, well, she started watching the game with me in the fourth quarter. And she said, who do you think are going to win? I went with the Clippers because I was like, it's still a close game, but the Clippers are the, I guess you could say, quote unquote, more experienced team just because of age. But, you know what I mean? Put some respect on the Kings. They came out and had a really, really good win. So shout out to the Kings. This game, if you missed this game live, you missed one of the best games of the season because the amount of like big shots that were hit this game, especially from the Kings as they were trying to like claw their way back into it, you missed an amazing game if you didn't watch this live. I thought Russ had a really, really good debut for the Clippers. He looked good. He had 17 assists he ended this game with. Ended the game with 14 assists. Getting to the rim a lot. He only made 1 3, but it was a big 3. He made a big 3 down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I want to say either to tie the game or when the game was very, very close. I just remember it was a big shot that he confidently took, and I was happy for him. But he looks good. It was funny because at one point he had assisted to Kawhi, I want to say like 3 or 4 possessions in a row, and the announcer was just like, well, I mean, they needed a playmaker, and Russ can play make, and he knows to get the ball to the hot hand of Kawhi, and he just kept finding Kawhi down the stretch, making some good plays and just, being efficient in the pick and roll with Plumlee. They played Plumlee, which I was also not surprised, but liked what I saw from Plumlee in this game as well. We'll talk about the Clippers some more in a little bit, but overall, I liked their debut. I think they looked solid. Am I like thinking they're going to be championship, going straight to the title? Let's not go all there yet, but I liked what I saw from the Clippers at least. Continuing news around the Heat. Kevin Love signs to Miami Heat. I think it's a really good pickup for the Heat. Maybe not really good. Let me put some caveat on that. It's another big who can stretch the floor. Kevin Love's a really, really good rebounder. I don't think it's going to help them at all defensively, but also when you have Bam, when you have Jimmy, when you have some of the other guys in that team who can play really, really good defense, you can kind of sort of hide K-Love a little bit. I do foresee teams picking on him in the pick and roll, but the spacing that he brings to this team offensively can be really, really good. So we'll see how it works out in the long run. And then also at the same time, did I look up and see what his contract was? At the same time, it's not like it's a terrible amount of pressure. They signed him for, gosh, hold on. Nah, Kevin Love ran away with the bag on the Miami Heat. How he convinced them to sign him for $3 million? Let me see. Let me pull this up. Can y'all see this? There we go. How did Kevin Love? No. How did Kevin Love convince the team to sign him for $3 million? It's a $3 million salary this season. Just the rest of this year, $3 million. I don't know how much of his money he got out of his contract, like out of his buyout with the Cavs. Like, I don't know how much of this he received. Agreed to buy out. Original was 28.9. They reduced it by $1.5 million. So he got bought out and received $27 million and still finessed the Heat for another $3 million. Hey, shout out to Kevin Love and his agents. But I think he could be a solid fit for the Heat. And I think the Heat needed to find some way to add more offense. I've been saying this for a while. I don't know if Kevin Love is that exact piece, but considering they didn't do nothing at the trade deadline, Kevin Love is something. We'll put it that way. Kevin Love is something. And it's also at the same breath, not like we haven't seen basically this same roster go to the NBA Finals, be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's not like this is a bad roster. I think they are underperforming to a lot of people's standards so far this season. But come playoff time, we know Jimmy sometimes can be a completely different animal, like a top 5 guy in the league. So we'll see what happens to the Miami Heat. Kevin Love could end up being a great addition. Is Russ on a minimum? That's a good question. No, Russ is on a wild minimum, but I have it right here. Russ's contract. I looked this up. Russ's contract. I don't even know how this is. He making $700,000. He making less than $1 million. That's why I'm like, in comparison, Kevin Love's contract, the Russ's contract, I'm shocked that Kevin Love got $3 million because it's literally 3 games, like 25 games left for most of these teams, if that. Definitely not 30 games left. So I saw his contract first, which was, the $700K, and then go to see Kevin Love to see the $3 million just honestly blew my mind and baffled me. Because then when you look at agreed to original buyout, original was this, they only reduced it by, wait, I'm confused now. $47 million reduced by 700,000. So maybe he got this much out of his buyout in terms of like how much money the Lakers had already paid him, and he got enough of his buyout, rest of it for the Jazz to basically finish out to that $46 million in total salary that he made this year. But the Jazz didn't pay him $46 million. I'm just trying to make clear. Most of that he already got because it's only 30 games left by the time he got traded. So he already got paid most of his money. Interesting though. Interesting, because I know we were talking in the Discord whether Russ would get a minimum, and I'm like, he probably would. Some other just random news around the league that I thought was interesting. Kevin Love said Lonzo Ball out for the season. Bulls announced officially Tuesday that Lonzo Ball is expected to not play at all this season. He hasn't played since January 14th, 2022, last season. And he's not expected to return until the 23-24 season. This is from their VP of basketball operations. I'm not even Artuis. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name. I'm not gonna butcher it. I'm sorry. Despite making significant increases in strength and function over the past several months, Bulls guard Lonzo Ball continues to experience performance-limiting discomfort during participation in high-level basketball-related activities. Considering the required time period to achieve the necessary level of fitness and return to play in current stage of the NBA season, Ball will not return this season. The focus on Ball will continue to be on a resolution of discomfort and a full return for the 23-24 season. The wildest part about this whole Lonzo Ball situation, from what I can tell, I didn't realize that was up the whole time. From what I can tell, they don't know what's wrong with him. Like, from what I can tell, they don't know what's wrong with Lonzo. So I wish him all the best. I don't know when he's going to return. They're saying they want him back for next season, but there's no real guarantee on if he'll even be back for next season. So we wish Lonzo the best of luck. I don't know when he's coming back. We don't know when he's coming back. It's a scary situation on the low. On the low, it's a very, very scary situation because I like what the Bulls were trying to do. Do I think that even roster with Lonzo Ball was quote unquote championship contention or anything like that? No, but I think they would have been could have been a top 6 seed, like looking for that, fighting for the 5 spot maybe. Like, I think they could have been a good team in the mix in the Eastern Conference if they had Lonzo on that team. That's how good they were looking when he was playing there. Now it's just like, it sucks. I just hope he's able to play basketball, because in the back of my head, it's like, is there a world where he just doesn't come back from this? It could be me over exaggerating for